don't. Yeah, I just realized why I wasn't live on the YouTube stuff. I just forgot to hit a button.
Forgot to click it.
I forgot to do.
Click the
Boop.
circle.
I got distracted when we were talking about something, and I just forgot to hit that part.
We're talking about SWAT tactics.
SWAT tactics. We were sharing our tactics. What else? A new Knight Rider movie is in the works because the first
all that.
3 didn't fucking work out well. So let's try again.
And it's from the guys that did the karate, not the Karate Kid, Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai stuff. Yep.
They did something before that I didn't realize they did either, and it was okay too. Fuck, I forgot what it was. Anyways. But yeah, I'm like, really, that too? It's like that's also dated, just like that. They're doing was it $1 Million Man or $6 Million
Yeah,
Man?
Jesus Christ! At
Which
this
is like
point,
jump change. I think that's what they put into me. Probably you too. It's like, this is what you get.
Yeah. You want $1 Million Man TV show?
In a medium
this
shirt.
is what you get.
Male pattern ballless medium
He's
shirt.
a fat, balding, fucking guy who just doesn't leave his house. He's just like
doing a shitty fucking internet show.
Damn podcast.
Guy ripping on each other. Like, it's $2 million right there. Well spent.
Your tax dollars hard at work, keeping us alive. Oh, Jesus Christ. Speaking of names that you can't pronounce,
like, how are you gonna make that? Why would you make that work? Like that was it. Even at its time, the show only ran for like 3 years.
What would be hilarious? And again, they won't have the balls to do it.
And The Rock in it.
No, you make Kit the Knight Rider car as it was in the 80s,
but electric.
But comparatively, it is less technologically advanced than like the Teslas that are on the road. So he's like, "Come on, kid." He's like, "You gotta take us there." And he goes, "I'm sorry, Michael, I don't have access to maps." He's like, "Every car has navigation." He's like, "Sorry, Michael, it's not something."
Exactly what they should do.
Would you like me to have wings? Like I can do that. Yeah, I could turn into a submarine. Like, we're in the middle of the fucking state. What do you need a submarine?
He's got like a fucking... Can't even charge his phone or whatever. He's got to use a regular map.
How do I hook up my... Sorry, Michael, there are no USB ports in this vehicle. Like, what the fuck? How do you not... So you have a USB port? Oh, God. That's what they should do. That's what they should do.
Gave him they haven't even written it yet. We just gave him all the greatest ideas.
I'm telling you, they'd make
copywriting, trademarking, whatever the fuck.
Yes.
No dibs. Dibs.
I'm gonna butcher this guy's name. Tenoch Huerta, the guy who played Namor. Oh. No, he played Namor in the Wakanda Forever. Tenoch.
Oh yeah.
He basically kind of let spill and mark this under like the news of the day, but he says that each character in Avengers Doomsday will have smaller roles. No shit.
What? Oh, you think all 100,000 people that are in it are gonna have fucking 25 minutes? We would be in the theater for 3 fucking days.
The fucking reveal of the characters, of some of the characters in the movie, took longer than most movies. Yeah. And you think, like again, fucking duh. It's
just gonna be like a huge blur of them, and they're probably all, you're gonna, oh, they're so and so, they're so and so, and it's like, you couldn't have just, honestly, they should just CGI some of those fucks in there.
I honestly, the group would be so big you could probably save the CGI. Cardboard cutouts would probably work for most of them in the background. Let's see. Actually, no, speaking of K-pop Demon Hunters, it's become Netflix's most popular original film of all time. And I was trying to think, like, that goes up against, like, didn't it movies like with The Rock, the Red Notice,
Yeah.
What was the one? Ghosted with Chris Evans.
I think Red Notice, that was with Deadpool, wasn't that? I think that was the
It's
previous
Red
number
Red
one.
One. Red One
No,
is
not I know that one bombed big time. Let's
yeah.
see. Netflix.
Because I'm trying to think what were other big Netflix original
The Chris
movies.
Hemsworth one.
Oh, The Extraction. Extraction was pretty good.
Extraction was good.
And the second one was all right. I'm trying to think what other. Oh,
Of
the
all
one with
time.
Leonardo DiCaprio, Up.
But that bombed.
That bombed.
Red Notice was the previous one. That's with The Rock and Ryan Reynolds and the lady that played Wonder Woman.
Right, Gal Gadot. Yeah,
They
that's
say
Red
Carry
Notice.
On was number 3, but that's a new one, and I don't know anyone that's watched that. Did you watch that one?
I did not watch Carry
That's
On.
with Bateman and Taylor Ebepen, the guy that played I don't know how to say his last name. Egerton. He's in the
Tedrin
Tetris
Edgerton.
movie. In that other movie,
You just go.
the
His name's
spy movie.
Tedrin Edgerton. Tedrin Edgerton. Yes.
Don't Look Up was number 4. Adam Project was number 5. Another Ryan Reynolds. Bird Box. That was hot back in what,
Bird
2020
Box
or
was
something?
hot, man. That one and oh no, I was thinking Birdman, but that was a different. That's not Netflix.
That was just a movie. Back in Action. That like just came out. I didn't think a lot of people watched it, but I guess they did. That's with Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz.
Right.
I never heard of this one. Leave the World Behind is at number 8.
Didn't Will Smith do one that bombed with like aliens and they were cops or something like that? I don't know. It's like Bad Boys meets Aliens kind of thing.
Gray Man. Oh, that was a pretty good one. And then Damsel. Never heard of that one.
Damsel.
That was all-time top 10 right there. But they've had a lot better ones. I'm surprised Extraction didn't. What do people watch? Why do people watch this anything? You know what it is? It's the algorithm, because they're like, they program it to be like, this is the most popular.
Number
and then
one
people
this
just
week.
click on it to watch it, and they probably fall asleep. So yeah, K-pop Demon Hunters, 266 million views so far.
Yeah.
Red Notice had 230,900,000. And then everything from there under is like 172 million and below. It's pretty fucking good for a movie that they didn't plan on being successful.
But it's exactly like when Squid Game came out. Like they never thought Squid Game was going to be as like genre defining as it was. Sometimes you just hit gold.
It's a subtitle movie too.
You fucking shotgun approach and something's got to hit. It's just
that's their whole thing. Yeah.
That's their whole thing.
Good for them, man. But
and
you know what subtitle movie I've been watching that's actually good? I try not to watch them because I don't know why I don't
like reading,
because I fucking watch everything with the subtitles on anyways because I can't hear and I won't wear my hearing aids because it gives me a headache. So I'm like, I don't know why I'm still against it. It's like I fucking don't hear what they say. I read everything anyways. It's on Apple TV. It's with The Rock, not The Rock. Fucking
Momoa.
Aquaman. Momoa. It's the one about Hawaii. That's pretty good.
Chief of
and
War.
You see a lot of dudes' butts, so you would fucking love it. So much butt cheeks in that movie.
Yes.
In that show.
Anubis said,
but it's a cool show.
He said, I want a TV show with Mad Mike trying to remember actors' names and what show or movie they were in.
Yeah.
It's a whole 30-minute show.
Fucking game show right there. You set me out there, but like the movie, and then some fucking idiots on there, like CQ's like trying to figure it out, like, oh my God. Happy Gilmore. Like, nope,
Jesus
not that
Christ.
guy.
I just had a thought of a game show. Remember, was it like the Pyramid was the one, like something Pyramid, and they had to give them clues and they would guess the words. It's just that people will come on, sit across from you, and they will have to guess what actor and thing you're talking about. Like the one with the guys and they were fighting the robots and the thing, and you're like, and I would totally pay to watch that. I would totally pay to watch that. No one would ever win.
No, not really. A couple people on our show would win. Billy always knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, he gets you. We talked about that Amazon Prime's been on a real good run of like making really good stuff, and some stuff's original, some stuff they're taking other properties and making the most out of it. This one, Amazon Prime Video has a series in the works based on a Wizard of Oz, like or based on the Wizard of Oz, and I'm
like a fictional show, or are they doing like a documentary or behind the
no, it's a
scenes?
series based on the Wizard of Oz. I just
It's because the one's so popular now. The movie, what's it? It's like the from the books. God damn it! The second part's coming out in the fall. The fucking
Wicked.
Wicked. Jesus fucking
Ding 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 ding.
ding. $1,000.
$1,000.
Okay, you got to get one right if you want to win there, Billy.
Oh man. I want somebody to go back, watch the whole episode, and just put like up a counter of like all the times they went ding.
Just write them in the chats, like come back and put in all the shit I was thinking.
Oh Jesus. I don't want this, and I don't like this,
Nobody
and I don't
wants
think
it.
we need this. And then I was gonna
It's
say,
been done
well,
so many fucking times. Like,
and I was gonna say, like, well, if they do like a gritty retailing, and and I'm like, no, because they've done that. Like, they've done that with like Wednesday
that's
and
what
the
the
Addams
Wicked
Family.
is. It's
It's
they're gritty.
wicked.
It's as gritty as you can get for that fucking gay ass shit.
I mean, like, like
It's
the
like, let's make a gritty
Riverdale.
fucking drag wars or whatever the fuck the RuPaul show is. It's like it's not gonna get much grittier than Wicked, man.
I mean, you gotta stop yawning, man. You're killing me. The fuck, I lost my train of thought. The fucking like Riverdale and the Hardy Boys and the Sabrina the Teenage, like all these shows that were like taking a gritty,
WB,
you know,
and that would work
young.
for that network, not Prime. Like nobody's gonna.
Nah,
I don't know.
nah. So work has begun on an official X-Men movie. They haven't said more, but work has begun on the official X-Men movie of the MCU. So, yay.
They're sweating.
It's
Like,
coming.
we're gonna come with something. DC's bringing that heat.
Gotta bring it. Gotta bring it. Mad Mike reminds me of every person talking to Blockbuster staff in front of me when I was just trying to rent the movie.
Want the fucking movie, you know? It's on the tape.
With
He's
the
in the
guy,
fucking store.
it has the guy, and he's with the hair, and
He's in the poster. Like, fuck, man.
you
You know what I'm talking
know,
about?
you
Damn it,
know,
preview
he
on the
was in that
fucking
movie.
TV. Did you see the Amazon Prime the Terminalist like spin-off they did with Tyler Kirsch?
The spinoff of
That's
what?
out. That's out now. It's like a I don't know if it's a spin-off or a sequel, but it's from the
Oh, the
Terminal List.
Terminal List. Yeah.
Didn't I say Terminal List, or did I just tell myself?
You just got him. I
I could
can't.
have sworn I said Terminal List, but I don't know.
I sometimes you kind of do that thing where you're like, what about the Terminal List?
Dang old Chris Pratt, dang old Terminal Amazon Prime's over there.
Chris Pratt, Amazon Prime, and whatnot. Yes.
I didn't watch it. I still haven't finished Terminal List. I forgot that was on. I'm like, oh yeah, Terminal List. I was watching that.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
When's Fallout come on? That comes out what, December?
It's coming soon. Matthew McConaughey is set to star in a new Netflix series from the True Detective creator Nick Pizzolatto. Pizzolatto?
Wait, Matthew McConaughey, that's confirmed they're doing that?
Matthew McConaughey will star in a new Netflix series from the True Detective creator Nick Pizzolatto.
Oh, I thought they were talking about bringing him back on True Detectives. Him and Woody.
No, they're not going to.
Heard they're making the season 3 finally of the fuck. What's it called? Mindhunter.
Oh yeah.
Supposedly. Yep. That's the like beginning of the FBI crime serial killer stalking stuff.
A lot of these headlines are just Hey, Thunderbolts is streaming on Disney Plus now. I watched it again. I enjoyed the movie.
Yeah,
I enjoyed the
I,
movie.
I watched like more than half of it. We were watching it earlier before I had to come in here.
Mm.
I liked
Jack.
it. It's so good. I thought it was fun.
Yeah,
What's his name
it's
does a great
good.
job. The Thunderbolt, not the Thunderbolt, the fucking Red,
Red Guardian.
yeah, Red Guardian.
Red
Jesus,
Guardian.
see,
You're killing it, man. You're killing it.
I'm nailing all. Everyone knows exactly what I'm talking about.
100% tonight. 100%. Jackie Chan revealed that his action team is in charge of action guidance for Spider-Man Brand New Day. So his stunt and action choreography fighting team is responsible for working on Spider-Man Brand New Day, which I think is pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool.
Okay,
You know? Eh.
why don't you tell us about the movie? I fucking care about that shit.
Anthony Ippolito.
No idea
Hippopotamus?
what you're trying to talk about.
This actor, Anthony Ippolito, has been cast as Sylvester Stallone in the movie I Play Rocky. So
Oh
there's a
yeah,
movie about
he
Sylvester
looks
Stallone.
like him.
He
I saw the
does. There's a lot
picture.
of
He looks like him.
resemblance. There's some resemblance. So
And it's like
we'll
you're really struggling for movies. I don't know.
you got to make movies about guys who made movies about guys who made movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's 3 layers of Inception.
It's because like the one about the Jordans was so successful and
Yeah.
stuff, so they're like, let's do it with Rocky, but
Everybody.
it's like really just him like, oh, I can only say so many words at one time. Oh.
Think I'm having a stroke. Peacemaker.
He did have a stroke.
James Gunn says they have some really, really big stars from the DC universe that are going to appear near the end of Peacemaker season 2, which goes into what I was saying before. I think there's going to be some huge shenanigans in episodes, I think 7 and 8, I think, of Peacemaker. And then there are going to be some big connections to that. Alex Garland wrote a 160-page draft and made 40 pages of imagery to pitch his live action Elden Ring movie. God.
Fucking shit's so boring.
Oh man.
Clayface is in the works. That'll be interesting, I think.
Yeah. I seen some set photos for Clayface, and it's clear that it is part of James Gunn's DCU and not like the Matt Reeves Batman universe. So, uh, it's supposed to be a horror. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
which I like.
Yeah.
I give James Gunn credit. Like just because you're making a shared universe doesn't necessarily mean they all need to be cookie cutter of each other. Like have a horror movie, have a buddy cop movie, have a romantic comedy, like and it's all lives within the DC universe, because it's through the lens of that genre. But I don't know. That's just me. Are Jason and Ezra coming back? Oh, no, no, they're not. Let's see. A bunch of
Did you
casting. Go ahead.
did you see that Netflix? I went back to Netflix. That they have that Ed Gein show coming out with the guy from Sons of Anarchy playing him.
No,
You see the trailer for that?
no, I haven't.
Oh, you gotta look it up. It's pretty cool. You can't even recognize it's that dude, Charlie. I'm not gonna try to pronounce his last name.
Yeah,
Conan. I don't know. Conan.
Conan.
Charlie
Cool.
Conan from Sons of
Yes,
Anarchy.
got it. Nailed it. No, I didn't see
But
that. I gotta look at that.
yeah, it looks creepy. Well, it's creepy fuck, anyways. But everyone from Wisconsin is. But yeah, it looks pretty good. Check that out. They got some
Nice.
set photos of him on there.
Nice, very nice. I was excited to see they've been announcing cast for Violent Night 2, which was that David Harbour
Oh
playing
yeah.
Santa Claus, and he just like ripped these dudes to shreds, basically. They announced Daniela Melchior, She played Ratcatcher in the Suicide Squad.
Oh, I just watched. I just rewatched that too.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's a
oh
good
yeah, I know
one.
what you're talking about.
Yeah. And there were some other people that they had announced. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I was like, oh man, it's shaping up. That's shaping up. It's gonna be good. I'm excited for that.
What was that again?
Violent Night 2.
Oh yeah. I haven't watched the first one.
Yeah. You haven't watched Violent Night? Oh, it's worth a
No,
watch.
I wanted to, and then I
It's
forgot all
worth a
about
watch.
it.
It's
Totally
worth a
forgot about
watch.
it.
I like my two new holiday favorites that I'm gonna watch like every Christmas is Violent Night and Fat Man with Mel Gibson as old Saint Nick.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
They're
one.
so bad, but they're good for being so bad. So I'm excited for that.
That smashing machine. Remember? I think I talked about it on my show.
Yeah, with The Rock.
With
Yeah.
The Rock replaced Mark Kerr, the UFC badass.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing that. I think it's Cannes, one of those stupid fucking festivals, and they
Yep.
give him a standing ovation.
15-minute standing ovation.
Yeah.
Do you know how long standing and clapping is?
Yes,
for
I do. I'm fucking
15 minutes?
Catholic. I know how like standing every 2 minutes for 30 seconds is like frustrating as fuck.
Like
Not alone standing and then clapping for
minutes.
And it's like, really?
It's
I've
that
seen
good.
the trailer and it's like The Rock in bad makeup. I mean, he looks like him, but it's like they
Kinda.
could have did his hair a little better. Like, I don't know, lightened his skin
It's
some,
pretty.
but it's like I guess it's his biggest stretch as an actor, and good for him for fucking trying it. But I've seen a lot better performances, but
I lost my shit when I saw a thing where it said, The Rock talks about how he was pigeonholed as a blockbuster
that's
actor.
the one I was just
and I'm like, oh my god! Like I had a brain aneurysm where I was like,
that's what he strived to be like his whole fucking career.
Like, that was his whole identity.
Was his sole goal.
I think he's just mad because Batista's out there like best wrestler turned actor because he takes dramatic roles and things, and I think he's a little jelly about that, and that's what's coming out. But all right, hey, our guest has joined us, so I'm gonna toss to a break. Mad Mike, you gonna stick around, or are you calling it a night?
No, I'm calling it. It's past my bedtime.
I appreciate you.
Talk about anyways. Reaching over here.
You're reaching. Shut up. As always, thanks for joining us, guys. We're gonna be back with our amazing special guest right after this break. We'll see you on the other side. Shots.
Hey, you there? Yeah, it is right, you. Let me ask you something, right? Where the hell do you think that you're going? Oh, would you think because the show is going to commercial that means you get to just walk away? Well, CQ asked me to pass on the little message, alright? And it says, I'll be back.
In the shadows of the city bright, where heroes rise and take the fight, there's a voice that breaks the night. It's CQ with the insight. From the comics to the silver screens, talking legends and those crazy scenes, pop culture, dreams and hidden themes. CQ reveals what it all means. From the comics to the silver screens, talking legends and those crazy scenes, pop culture, dreams and hidden themes. CQ reveals what it all means. Pop culture warrior here to ignite, guiding through the tales of light. With CQ leading the charts so bright, we're ready for another flight. Pop culture warrior here to ignite, guiding through the tales of light. With twists and turns. Villains playing, heroes learn. Every episode we'll discern lessons from the past to learn. Games we play and books we read. CQ's list of what we need. Memories that make us bleed. Together we will take the lead. Pop culture warrior here to ignite. Guiding through the tales of light. With CQ leading the charge so bright. We're ready for another fight. Pop culture warrior here to ignite. Guiding through the tales of light. With CQ leading the charge so bright. We're ready for another fight. Pop culture warrior here to ignite. Guiding through the tales of light. With CQ leading the charge so bright. We're ready for another flight. Pop culture warrior here to ignite. Guiding through the tales of light. With CQ leading the charge so bright. We're ready for another flight.
Hi there. You're watching Pop Culture Warrior. This is the way.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Pop Culture Warrior. I am your host, CQ. And oh boy, we got a good one tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest today is a composer, songwriter, and sonic innovator. From crafting musical worlds through ancient instruments to composing the fan favorite anthem, The Hills of Tanchico, in the Wheel of Time, he brings imagination and emotional precision to every single note. After penning a musical love letter to the fantasy series, he went on to score deeply immersive projects like the horror film Dead Whisper. Whether he's shaping melodies that live in convention halls or pushing genre boundaries with sonic alchemy, he truly redefines how we hear stories. So, with that, let's not waste any time. Let's jump right into it. Please welcome to the show my good friend and soon to be yours, our guy for the evening, Mr. Nikhil Koparkar. Everybody.
Hey.
Yes. Yes.
Thanks so much for having me, CQ. I'm so excited to dive in. And
Oh,
thanks for
man.
that wonderful intro, man.
Dude, you've earned it. You've earned it. You're here. We're doing this. We got to meet at San Diego Comic-Con, which was incredible. I truly loved our conversation. I think it was something that we posted the interview, and I think a lot of people got a lot out of it.
That's wonderful. Yeah. I had such a blast chatting with you too. And it was so short. It just flew by.
It,
So I was very excited when you asked me to come on the show. And we get to dive in a little bit deeper. That's always fun. So,
Absolutely, man. Are you kidding me? Like it's my honor. I'm so excited to do this. It's something I've looked forward to. I I don't want to overhype it, but like I've done a lot of convention coverage. I've done a lot of interviews. I've talked with a lot of people. You start to get a sense of people, right? And
mhm.
like you said, in those very small windows, you get to see personalities and you get to see people who are like, I'm here because I got to punch the clock and I got to do the thing and I
Right.
got to sell the thing. And then there's people that are like excited to be there and excited to be doing it, and you can tell we're probably a fan even before they got into what they're doing. And
Yeah.
when I get to speak with those people, like it's just a thing, it's an energy, it's a thing that you get and you connect. And I thought about our interview a lot after we talked, and I was like, yes, I've definitely got to have him. So
Oh,
for all that hype to say thank you for coming on. Right up front, we love to get to know our guests before we dive into
sure.
your work, your incredible work. We want to get to know a little bit about you. So first and foremost, let's what are your social media handles, right? How can people follow you? How can people get connected to you?
Totally. Yeah. So, my social media handles are pretty simple. They're all pretty much at Nikhil K Music. And so you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, X, and all the social
All
platforms.
the
So
social platforms.
I'm
You
I'm
got it.
kind of all over the place.
And you have a website too. I took a spin. It's really nice. You want to
Oh,
plug the
thank
website?
you. Yeah, so it's nikhilkmusic.com. You can find it there as well. And
Outstanding.
that has kind of some of my recent projects and kind of what I'm up to as well, stuff that's work in progress as well, both on my YouTube channel and my website as well.
Yes, awesome. Uh, so, in getting to know you, obviously, we talked a little bit about this heavy military veteran influence and audience. Do you have a military connection, like a family member, friend, dude you went to school with, or just a big supporter of the military?
Yeah, no, I'm actually I am a supporter of the military, and I remember my first band in LA. The drummer was a military veteran, so we used to chat a lot about his experience, and kind of how it informed really what he wanted to do with the rest of his life, which was make music. And
That's
I always find it very interesting to hear people's backgrounds and what leads them to that thing, because they're going to bring a different flavor to it. And obviously, like, the amount of mental fortitude and physical fortitude that you have to do, have to have a career in the military is, it's best of the best, right? Cream of the crop. So I feel like he brought that kind of sense of passion, I guess you could say, and discipline to the art of playing music. And it was very evident even in rehearsals and shows and everything. So I don't know, it was kind of my first taste of that in my adulthood, was like, when you play in a band with somebody, you're very close with them. You know, you get to know them and in a different way than just being friends and stuff. So yeah, I just found that experience to be really great. So yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. And obviously, this is a pop culture show. We talk about all the things we geek out on and nerd out
Yeah,
about, whether
yeah.
it's toys, or comics, and movies and TV. Obviously, I always like to ask, outside of your given profession, because if you're here, you're in the
Mhm.
entertainment industry. But outside of your given profession, what kind of things do you geek out about?
Oh man, it's really all over the map. Like I love watching films and TV shows. I love games as well. My wife is a gamer. She works in the games industry, and
Nice.
so she's playing more than I am these days. But I really grew up playing a lot of games. Like I remember getting my first like NES back in the day, you know, and on it. So I was so on and so forth. I was hooked from that moment. But I will say, you know, it's very interesting because I've been thinking about this a lot over the last few years. Is like what if there's a way to combine things that are maybe hobbies that you have and bring it into what you are, what your profession is? So, you know, I used to read voraciously when I was younger, and like I used to fake being sick from school so I could stay at home and read, you know, and I would be the kid with the flashlight under the covers, you know, staying up
Nice.
past his bedtime to read. So I was like very much all about books. And you know how it is in college, it's like you have to read for homework and it's a lot of dense stuff. I kind of fell off of it, and then I revisited it in my adulthood, and I was like, oh my God, I forgot how much fun this is, how much gratification I get. It's like, what if I could bring this into my music career? And that's kind of what began that whole book adaptation fascination, you know, The Wheel of Time, His Dark Materials and such. So yeah, it's weird. Like I love doing stuff that is not related to music at all. I love doing stuff that is not related but could be in some long-winded
Mhm.
way related to music. I think it's the variety spice of life. So
That's
and then
awesome.
of course I love like outdoor adventures. So that's always like a fun thing. Hiking
Nice.
trails, swimming, you know, all
That's
that kind of
great.
stuff.
Well, that's
Yeah.
awesome, man. Um, what is like maybe the nerdiest or most like fan thing you've ever done, right? Like cosplay or stand in a midnight release line or some kind of, stars, they're just like us.
Yeah, yeah. No, I remember standing, I remember when the Wii came out. And we stood in line. It was like the Thanksgiving night or whatever it was. We stood in line till 5 a.m. when the store opened, and it was like sub-zero temperatures. So like people were taking turns going and warming up in their cars. The other people are like saving their places in line, you know. But yeah, that was like more of a kind of college experience of like the fandom of video games. Like I remember I used to, when I was as far as like when I was 6 years old, I would call the Nintendo hotline before they even had Nintendo Power Magazine or whatever, and I would ask questions like, "Oh, how do you do this particular dungeon or whatever?"
Nice.
So it was kind of always ingrained in me as a kid, and in fact, the most recent experience was I did like a year and a half D&D campaign with a bunch of people who, one of which I had worked with at Riot Games on a campaign, and then a couple of other people from that company as well. So it's kind of it's fun, you know, to be able to nerd out together. I think that's the best part about these things is like the community
Yeah,
and being able to enjoy that together. Yeah.
absolutely.
So
And when we spoke at San Diego Comic Con, I think you said it was your first San Diego Comic Con, right? Was that your
it
first time
was,
there?
yeah, yeah.
What? Because I always tell people like you think you know what San Diego Comic Con is going to be like,
Oh,
but
man.
then when you experience it, it's like holy shit, like this is
Yeah, yeah.
crazy. So what was your overall like what you get from San Diego, the experience?
Man, it was such a tornado, like way more than I would have expected. Like the biggest convention I'd been to before that point was the Game Developers Conference up in San Francisco. It's like 60,000 people, you know, a modest 60,000 people. And and then I find out Comic-Con is like more than double that, right? Almost triple that. And so I remember the preview night on Wednesday
Mhm.
before the whole shebang begins. And I went on the show floor because I thought, oh, it's going to be less crowded that day. It was so packed, and I just remember I was like a deer in headlights. I ran into a friend there somehow, and she was like, "Oh yeah, it's much quieter than it's going to be in the you know." I'm like, "How? How did they even fit people in this building?" You know.
Yeah.
So I was just like flabbergasted, but it was such a blast. I really felt like there, you can do anything you want at that place. Like in the sense of you can have any kind of Comic Con experience you want. You can go to all the parties. You can make it all about just connecting with people over coffee. You can make it all about the panels. You could do a combination. It's
Yeah,
just amazing. It's
yeah.
really, really cool. How many has it been for you, by the way?
Uh, I'll be honest. It was my first San Diego. I've done
Oh,
hundreds of
wow. Yeah.
conventions, but I'm an East Coast guy, and so like I've done New
Right.
York and Florida and Atlanta and like all these different. First time in San Diego Comic Con, and
Wow.
it's like you said, like I was busy every minute of every day from the start of the day to the end of the day, and I feel like I only did like half of everything. Like it
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
it was just so much, but I'm very excited. Yeah, I want to go back next year, and I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Oh man, me too. Me
What an
too. Yeah.
experience. Speaking on all that, if you could step into any fantasy world that maybe you've scored or maybe that you want to
Mm.
score, which world are you going to live in?
Man, okay, so I think it would be a toss-up, and I'll tell you why. So one, of course, I got a chance to work on, which was the Wheel of Time. And those characters I fell in love with. When I read those books 6 years ago, I was like, this was a gateway to fantasy for me. So it will always have a special place in my heart. And I feel an affinity to those characters. They go through so much over, 14, 15 books. And the other one I would say is one that I would, it would be like a dream to work on someday would be Stephen King's The Dark Tower. Just because it is such a mind fuck. Like I don't know if you've ever read the series, but it's like an acid trip through fantasy. It's like Western fantasy, horror, pop culture references. Like it's all over the map. So I feel like, and I felt like reading those books, you're almost seeing like I don't know. It seemed like Stephen King was like connecting to all his other novels, and that would be the wildest like fever dream of a place to visit. But that would be a place I'd love to go to if I could survive it.
That's a big
That's
ass
a
right
bleak
there.
one. That's a bleak one. But yeah.
um, if you could compose, because
Mm,
superheroes are, as much as it's the story, like when we think of you think of Superman, you hear that score, right?
yeah.
You think of Batman, you hear that score. Like they're so ingrained into those characters. So if you could compose the theme for a
Mm.
superhero, which one would you love to write music for?
Man, that's a really tough question, actually, because for that same reason, I think when I was younger, I would have said Batman right away because I remember one of my first experiences was watching Batman the Animated Series, actually, when it first debuted.
Oh, so
And
good.
oh my God, the character arcs of the and every theme was just phenomenal. And also, like, I've always had an affinity to Batman because he he doesn't have the superpowers that all these
Mm,
other superheroes have. He had his intellect, he had coming to terms with grief, he had like, how do you use your pain as a tool to help others. I mean, I thought that was brilliant. I love how he's kind of like, even some of the people who are in Arkham Asylum are kind of a reflection of him, and also are there because of him in some
of
respects. And
course.
it's just such a complex, like multi-layered character. I guess if I had to pick one, I know that's kind of cliche, but like, oh
No.
man, I just love this character.
After listening to some of your work, man, I'm sure you would lay down something just crazy awesome for
Oh.
Batman. I think it would be great. And speaking of which, you like how I segue there? I can segue like the best of them. Like you've worked with instruments from all around the world, but what I'm curious about was what's the first instrument you picked up when you were a kid?
Yeah, so the first instrument was a piano, and it was literally only because my mom put me in piano lessons. And I remember my first teacher was a nun, and she would stand there with the ruler, and like every time you made a mistake, she would like smack your hand with a ruler. So I wasn't too big a fan of the piano at that point. Wonder why. But then I finally had a teacher who like taught me about, oh, it's about the space between the notes. It's about think of it like colors. It's like a color palette. The way you play, the feeling is as important as what you play. And I don't know, it just kind of really got me going with the musical journey. Then later on in college, I picked up guitar, bass, and then eventually drums. But really, I've always been fascinated by the orchestra, and I've never learned to play an orchestral instrument. But you kind of have to know enough about it to write for those instruments, so it's always tricky. to do that. But I had a lot of help along the way from violin players I could call up, or cello players, and just kind of get the sense of like what's actually doable on this instrument. So I know it's all long-winded, but my first one was piano. That's like the longest answer in the
No,
book to your question. But
yeah, that's the great thing about having a long interview. We could just wax philosophical and go down memory lane. I love it. I love it. We're getting to know so much about you. If if you could master instantly any instrument in the world today,
Hmm.
which one you going for?
Probably probably violin, and the reason being is it's the one that got away. I remember it took like 6 months of violin lessons when I was like 8 or 9. Didn't really take to it, and I feel like it would have been the most useful actually, because writing for strings, being able to play your own parts, being able to experiment in the moment and record it and have it in a movie score, like I think that would be really cool. And being able to write from a violinist perspective, I think would be really neat. So that's like the one that if I could like through osmosis just learn it now, that would be like it would be opening up a whole new gateway to, I think, writing, scoring, and also recording music. So that would be
That,
the one, I think.
that
Yeah.
makes sense. That makes sense. And obviously, we're going to talk a lot about the highs of your career, but I like to
Yeah.
take a little peek at the bottom. So, even though you've composed some epic scores, I'm curious, what's the most unepic thing that you've ever written music for?
Hmm. That's a really good question. So that is a very good question. So I would say, we all got to start somewhere, and I
Mhm.
think I think it's very important to actually talk about that aspect of the journey, because there is no like, oh, once I got my first studio film. There's so much that leads up to that.
Yep.
And I would probably say, like, it's when you're first starting out, you're working on short films for college student short films, that kind of stuff. And I'd worked on, it was kind of a great experience actually, even though it ended up being just like a crazy experience. Was the first film I ever worked on was a feature in 2012. And it was like an independently done feature, really well done for what he had to work with. But it was just, he was doing it on the side. He needed a composer. I auditioned for it. I got the part, and so that was my first experience. And it was like I had 3.5 weeks to score this film, and it was like wall to wall music. So it was like, I think it was like 82 minutes of music, and it
Wow.
was all fully orchestral, and it was just me. And so I had about 3 weeks to do it. I remember the last 3 days I stayed up like in a row. I just didn't sleep, and it was just bonkers. Like, no one should do that. It's not, that's like the least glamorous version of this that one could probably do. But again, it's a fantastic experience, because even though it's difficult, even though it's like the opposite of what you think about when you're getting into the profession, you learn so much. You also learn about what you have in you, and I think those experiences are very important for that. It's like you don't really know, what kind of um what stamina or endurance or grit you have in you, unless you're tested.
Yeah.
And that's a good testing ground for sure.
No, I think that's a great lesson, right? You don't know what you're able to do until you're pushed to that point. And I'm sure that speaks to a
Yeah.
lot of our military veterans.
Yeah, right, right.
In basic and these things, like they push you to the
Mhm.
breaking point, so you know that you can go past what you think is your limit. You can really push
Yeah.
past it. Um,
I I think a
but
lot about that actually is like self-limiting beliefs. It's like we all have them, and it's always like a daily practice to try to figure out ways of circumventing them. But it's like we really don't even know what we're capable of. And oftentimes what we think is our limit is not even close.
Yep. And also, we have a ton of people watching live. I've been enjoying this conversation so much. I've been forgetting to look at people that have been chatting with us. So I
Sure.
apologize, everyone.
No, no.
I'm doing this for me. Screw the audience. I'm doing this for me. I'm having a blast. But if you do have questions for our incredible guest, please put it in the chats, and we will get to it. A lot of people talking about music and instruments and all the
Mhm.
different things. And like Captain Wayne says, he taught himself for the most part. I kind of hate covers, but you can learn styles from them. So a lot of
100%.
good stuff. People chatting there. So in to tie into what we were kind of talking about, give us kind of a high level bullet point of kind of you know the transition from like, oh, I like music, I play music, I do music, to
Mm.
this is going to be my career. Like, how do you make that jump?
Yeah, and I'm sure any person you speak to is going to be a completely different story. But I think there's always there's like a through line, and I always like to look for the through line. So for me personally, I remember when I was going into college, I told my parents, "Hey, I want to get a music degree." And they said, maybe get a different degree and then do whatever you want. So that's basically what I did. I got an econ and math degree. And that degree actually helped me move down to LA because I got a job in LA for the first couple years working as an economist at the US Department of Labor. Of
Oh wow.
most opposite job you could possibly have, right? Government economist. And so I was like suit and tie and a laminate, and then a couple years afterward it allowed me to save money, pay back my student loans, and buy gear and learn while that was going on. Then I decided, I need to go in full on, so I started teaching lessons, and I would also play in bands as a kind of hired gun. And so that led to that first band I mentioned to you, which was kind of like a southern rock band, and with that veteran who a drummer. And then I started my own band called Dream Alive, which is very influenced by like Pink Floyd and Rush and like a lot of progressive rock stuff. And so we played that for a while, but that was, from 2012 to about 2016. So I was still doing a bit of film stuff on the side, and I kind of started to realize like I love writing, and I would do that every day if I could. So it's really late 2016, 2017 that I kind of moved over to scoring. But every single one of those experiences, like I really feel they educated me in ways that I would have not gotten that education had I not done those things. So like the economics degree helped me with, just kind of developing a business sense, and critically like thinking about things analytically. The band stuff helped me to learn to collaborate better and to be a better listener than I am just jumping into things, so everything has really helped a lot. And so then 2016 onwards I've been doing composing, and really the breakthrough came in 2019 when I read those books, the Wheel of Time series, and I was like, what if I pretended I had the credits I don't have, just as a mental exercise to see what would I do differently? Like, how would I pitch for this imaginary project that doesn't exist for me personally? But hey, what if I was to pretend maybe I would do something differently? And so I wrote a musical love letter to the books, and then Lauren Balfe saw it. He hired me on his team, and you just kind of never know where these things are gonna go. But I think, but it's been a fun winding road.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
I love it. If that doesn't encapsulate like the American dream and like, what's the, like, put it out into the universe, right? If you
yeah,
just
yeah.
put it out there and don't take up all the roadblocks of like why you can't and why you shouldn't and why you just fucking do, man. Just do.
Yeah,
And
yeah. You
it's awesome.
I think, now that you're mentioning it, I think there's two reasons for that too. It's like, one is the obvious reason is like you never know who's watching, right? But the other
Mhm.
part is like what kind of person do you become in the process of doing that thing? Because it's like, let's say you get the opportunity of a lifetime. If you're not like mentally, emotionally, spiritually ready for that thing, it's just not going to work out. But if you have to put yourself out there in a way that's out of your comfort zone, you're automatically becoming the person that is more likely to be prepared when that opportunity comes, you
Outstanding.
know?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
That's our own. First question from the chats. This is
Yeah.
from Tan. He says, while scoring, what are you looking at to gauge the feeling of the scene?
That's a very good question. So I guess it depends on the type of film, TV show, game. Usually there's a through line. So for example, if it's something between a couple characters that is very pivotal, maybe one wants to reference the theme that is written specifically for those characters, if that's a thing, right? The other approach would be, you want to see what is the dialogue doing, what is the subtext, because there's always two stories running in any particular scene. There's what you see and what the thematic idea of what they're trying to convey. The two people could be having a conversation, but is there a complex relationship going on here? So it's like, what do you want to score? You don't necessarily want to score what's on picture. Maybe you want to score that subtext. And so once you make that decision, things start to fall into place. Like, you have the thematic idea, maybe you have what you're actually scoring is that maybe that's the subtext you want to express. And then it's also like, where should music come in and out? That's like one of the most important things, because especially in a dialogue scene, it's very easy to take people out of the experience. So you want to always, you want to make the best music you possibly can, and of course that's the case in any instance, but you also want to make the best possible music for the scene. So depending on what kind of scene it is, I think those are the considerations, like, at least that helps me in my process, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
No, absolutely. And
Mhm.
it's so true, and it's something that, like, as I've cuz again, I'm just the normal everyday average Joe, but as I've gotten to talk with composers and writers and actors and directors, and to start to see the the product through their lens, and you start to go, wow, okay, like something like music, it changes a scene completely. It's two characters talking, but
Yeah.
then, like you said, that soft, subtle, like, is it manipulative? Is it like a backstabbing kind of? So they're saying
Right.
nice things, but is the music hinting at there's some subterfuge happening, or
Right. Right.
two guys talking, you start playing some romance music, that changes the subtext to that scene
That doesn't
a
quite, yeah,
lot.
yeah,
And then
exactly,
you
yeah.
start going like, wait a minute, what's happening here? So it's powerful. It's so powerful. It's I would almost say it's a direct connection to people's emotions. That
Mm.
music, more than the words, because we all know people lie, people say things, people, but it's like the music, like, it just connects with the emotion of the scene, and you're like, oh, I'm supposed to be happy, I'm supposed to be scared, I'm supposed to be
Yeah.
anxious, because of the cues. And I
100%. And part of that might be telegraphing it, like you mentioned. Part of it might be not telegraphing it as an
Mhm.
artistic intention. So when it happens out of left field. Or it's like,
Yes.
what POV are we looking at? Are we looking at it through the audience's lens? Are we looking at it through the main character's lens? Are we looking at it through the antagonist lens? Then that
Mm.
also changes how the music functions in that scene.
Oh,
So
I love it.
there's just so many ways to do it, and
It's
but that gives
and
you an
people think
idea,
it's
I
like,
guess.
oh, play some bells, play some, wind chimes, and boom, you're done. And it's like, no, there's a lot that goes into it. Um,
Totally, yeah.
so you started out kind of experimenting with these ancient instruments and
Mm.
blending them with orchestral music. How did that spark, kind of your unique voice as a composer?
Well, yeah, it really all came down to meeting this guy Kunal Gunjal, who's a amazing santoor player. Santoor is like an Indian Persian hammered dulcimer, and he was talking about how he grew up playing Indian classical music almost exclusively. And I came from more of a Western background, but I grew up listening to Indian music, so I knew kind of some of the vocabulary, the musical vocabulary and stuff. And I'd always expressed like, hey, I would love to combine the two into something. And he's like, I would love to do it the other way. He's like, I've been doing all the classical stuff. I want to go the other way. I'm like, maybe we could find a way to meet in the middle. So he came over one Thanksgiving, we jammed, and immediately like a song idea popped out. So we're like, let's just make an album, And so, but the idea was that instead of making it where you have Western instruments playing Indian scales or Middle Eastern scales or whatever it is, the typical fusion music we see. It was like, what if we did it the opposite way? What if Santur was like a section in the orchestra? You have strings, brass, woodwinds, piano, Santur. What would that do? And so he played it differently. He tuned it differently. And so that got me thinking. I'm like, wow, it sounded a little different to the classical stuff. And we made this album called Nature of All Things. And it was just such a blast that I was like, I want to do more of this. I want to see, like, there are instruments that have been played the same for hundreds or even thousands of years. What if you took it out of context? What if you changed it? What if you played it the wrong way? Now suddenly you have a whole universe of possibilities that have maybe never been explored ever. And that was really cool. So I just started diving into that, and I've been doing that everywhere, like everywhere from Wheel of Time music, to even that Dead Whisper score, which is a horror score, which you think, less opportunity to necessarily do that. But I found a Thai instrument called the can, and I ordered it from Thailand, learned a few phrases, and boom. And because I'm not a traditional player, I'm going to play it differently, and you could process it differently, and suddenly it functions completely in its own right in a score. So yeah, I don't know. I could talk about that whole thing for hours, but
I love
it
it.
gives you an idea of how
No,
jazzed I am about
I
this stuff.
love it
But
exactly, and these are the conversations I love having because you really get to see the spark in someone when they talk about something they're passionate about. Um, you talked about you were a longtime fan of the books.
mm.
Obviously, you got to compose. What did it feel like to you to score the Hills of Tanchico? I can't imagine the what that meant for you, that moment, that feeling. Walk us through the process. Walk us through the feeling of it.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, as I mentioned, I read those books and I was just obsessed. And I remember when doing that orchestral love letter, from that moment on, like I couldn't sleep. Like I'd wake up in the middle of the night, think of ideas. It's not even my gig to get, at that moment, right? But I was just like I couldn't stop, it was like my white whale, and so I was obsessed about it. And so when Lorne saw this and he gave me the chance to work on his scoring team, and which let me work on his Dark Materials and then of course Wheel of Time, it was just like a dream come true, And as I started sending him cues for approval, because it goes through a bunch of different approvals, right? It goes through him, then it goes through music editor, the production, the showrunner, and then finally Amazon. So a lot of different people kind of weighing in on this stuff. And because I'd read the books and I would go like, hey, I think they're going to tease this in season 4 or whatever, what if we were to have this musical kind of callback to tie into when they actually introduced this particular theme. And so finally, a spot opened up for a music team lead of that was basically in charge of the music for season 2. So I ended up doing that. And then flash forward to season 3, getting to work on the Hills of Tenchico. It was yet another dream come true because Tenchico was always one of my favorite geographical locations in the Wheel of Time. I always thought it was just so interesting and unique to unique flavor to that place. So it was a lot of inspiration, but it was also not a lot of time because they basically production sent me a script by Raimi Park, amazing writer, for episode 6, and it was like, hey, we need this Hills of Tenchico song. Some lyrics had been written by Raimi Park, and it's like we need a song that sounds like sea shanty, have Asian and African instrumentation. Good luck. And oh, by the way, we need to end it today. So I had a few hours to write that. So I was both excited, but I also didn't have enough time to be terrified because I probably would have been. And it was just kind of off to the races. And 90% of that recording that I did to send to production for approval is what's in the final version, actually.
Wow.
It was me recording all these guitars and mandolin stuff and so yeah, it was a musical playground, and I'm really grateful to Lauren and the production, honestly, for putting their trust in me to do this and to
Yeah.
run with it. But yeah.
And it's had quite an impact. I mean, even on the fans, I know that a lot of people have taken to it. And what has been your, I guess, understanding of like the fan reaction? Like, how does that reach you? Right? Like, the fans connect to it. Maybe you're at the
Yeah.
conventions and things like that. Like, how does that get to you, and how does that make you feel?
I mean, honestly, like I don't think I could have ever imagined the reaction to this song because it's like we do these things and I did it so fast, you just kind of put it out there. You never know where things are going to go and you don't really have expectations. Like at least for me it's like I feel like I've been doing this long enough that I've kind of thrown expectations out the window with some of this stuff because, it's just such a up and down thing, you just never know what's going to happen. But I will say I did it really with the love in my heart for that material. And so hopefully that joy came through in the song. And I noticed when it came out, it just kind of blew up and it became its own thing. Like fans will message me. A fan even had I think I wore it during that Comic-Con interview that we did, but a fan even had a shirt with the Hills of Tenchico designed for me and sent it to me. It's just been amazing. And like fans will still send me 40, 50 people sing-alongs of them singing the Hills of Tenchico at various fan conventions. So it's just unbelievable. I mean, I could never imagine that something like that could happen, but I'm glad at least that like I can connect with them both as the writer of that and then also as a fan, a fellow
Mm.
fan. And I think that's the real fun thing is like some of them will, mention in the comments like one of us, because it's like, yeah, I was a fan too, I am a fan. Um so it's a really unique relationship, actually, I think, because
Yeah.
I'll go on different there's a Dusty Wheel show, which is kind of one of the official Wheel of Time YouTube channels, and I'll go and guest on there and chat with the fan. It's great, and
Yeah.
that those fans are some of the coolest in the world, I think.
Yeah, it's so amazing, because I hear that time and time again. You hear actors or you hear directors, you go like, I'm just trucking along. I put my head down, I'm doing the
Yeah,
work, and you never really know what's gonna. It's like you think, oh, this is the thing people are gonna freak out for, and then
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
meh, and then it's like,
Right.
yeah, this is the thing I did in a couple hours, and oh my god, I gotta get it done, and it's the biggest thing ever. I think that there's certain things that just become part of like the cultural relevance. I look like The
Mhm.
Witcher, toss a coin to your Witcher. That
Yeah,
that thing
right.
was everywhere for like a
Oh
couple
yeah,
months.
yeah.
So it's so cool that and I think you make the case more than anything of why, if you're gonna do an adaptation for something, have people on board who love the material, who know the
Yes.
material. We talk about it all the time on this show about uh, 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 adaptations, whether it's video game adaptation, book adaptation, whatever,
Yeah.
and how it's like you can tell when it's a studio led thing that nobody really knows the
Right.
material, and they're just like it'll make money, versus like the people that are like, man, they got this, they know the material, they know the jokes, they know the stuff. So
Yeah.
I love that you're a fan of it long before you get into it, and you make a
Oh,
case for why they need it.
well, I always laugh about that because I think even if they were to look at it from a purely business decision, right? There's a reason why some adaptations succeed and some fail. And it's very rare. I don't even think I can name one where an adaptation was done, with like no knowledge of the source material and people just ate it up. Like I can't even think of one like that. And so the idea is like even if they were looking at it purely financially, it would still be a good decision to have people who love the source material and want to protect it, do deference to it, like do hold it to a high standard.
Absolutely. I think that's exactly why they don't hire the people, because they
Right.
just want to, like, let's just get this thing out the door. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, you're gonna put up a fight going, that's not how it should sound. That's not what they
Right.
would do. That's not.
Right.
And
Right.
so
Right.
they want yes men. That's what it is. Those
Yeah.
people want yes men. Anyway.
Right.
Um so speaking on the song too, like, it really layers this kind of playful double entendre, and it
Mm.
has like a melodic undertone. How do you like take what's on the page and then translate that into music? Because that I cannot wrap my brain around.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a tricky thing, because like I mentioned, Raimi had written these great lyrics with the double entendres, and it's supposed to be a body bar song, but the actual history is very nefarious, right? It's like it's thousands of years old, and it has kind of darker undertones similar to that Ring Around the Rosie song, and how it started off as the Black Plague,
Mhm.
song during that time, and it's now become a children's nursery rhyme. And it's a similar thing. When something gets distorted through time, how's it going to change? So it was a lot to kind of take in, because part of it, I had to have some sort of a melancholy undertone to it at some point, just to allude to it at least. And so the beginning almost sounds a little melancholy, tell you a tale of a lad of 20, like the just kind of that solo guitar. It's almost like a lament. That's the best
Mhm.
way to put it. And then I also said, like, I want this to feel like it was passed down, almost like a timeless legend, passed down from oral tradition.
Yeah.
So the chorus is very uplifting and kind of has that quality to it. At least that was what I was trying to do. Is it almost sounds triumphant. And so these were the things that were going in my mind when I was trying to write it. And then also it's like, production had mentioned they want something that feels like a sea shanty, but they also want these Asian and African instruments, which is very hard to blend those two things together. But I've always found, like, at least for my process, I like to start small and then build around it. So I knew sea shanty was going to be the kind of main thing, because it's still at a tavern, so it should feel like something that you can play on one instrument and sing. and
Mm.
and and if you can dial it down to that one thing, then you could build everything around that. So I started with the guitar, and I played that same, I was trying to figure out the melody to the cadences of the words, and I did that like 50 times in a row till I got the melody in the right place. 'Cause, when you play it over and over again, then it kind of starts to fit together the way you want it to be. Then once I had that, I'm like, okay, now I can build everything around that. So I'm like, okay, I'll have hand stomps and hand claps and tambourines and stuff like what you'd hear in a tavern,
Mhm.
maybe some pipe organ, things like that. And then I was like, Asian instruments, let's make those the plucked ones, because if you double it with something like a mandolin, suddenly it's not like, oh, we're in Malaysia, we're in, Japan, we're in, it's kind of like, what is that?
Right.
And it was the same with the percussion. I doubled some of the kind of more Western cinematic percussion with like some West African percussion. And you go, what is that? And the trick was like, you don't want to feel like you're in a geographical location. You don't want to listen to it and go, oh, that feels African or that feels Asian. You want it to go like, where's that? It feels like something familiar and yet something new. And so now it belongs to the wheel of time.
Mm.
That's the idea, at least. So yeah, basically a lot of things were running through my mind in those few hours. But I feel very fortunate, that like I had that experience with using world instruments before. So I at least knew kind of a starting point of like what works for me, my process. So
It was like,
yeah.
all that sounds pretty easy. I can knock out one of
No big
those in
deal,
a afternoon.
no
Yeah,
pressure.
whatever. Just a timeless song that blends otherworldly sounds and can't be geographically located. Yeah. No
Yeah,
problem.
yeah,
Easy. Bust that out.
yeah. Get it
We
done
got
before lunch.
we got a highly specific question here. It says,
Oh yeah.
"What inspired the use of the Mayan death whistle in the Dead Whisper soundtrack?"
That is a great question. Thanks so much for asking. So basically, I was thinking about, so Dead Whisper is basically about a guy who gets duped into boarding a ferry, and he goes to this island where people only speak in whispers, and he's offered the chance to be reunited with his child, a deceased child, at the cost of his soul. And so it's kind of like the deal with the devil kind of a vibe to it. And you know what I kind of wanted to convey is, first of all, the film kind of starts in more of a morose drama, and it suddenly becomes something different. Like you end up on this island and almost feels like a time out of like a place that's out of time and space itself. And so I wanted something that would feel both ancient and also, what is that thing? It's like that same idea. And so, I was thinking about mine death whistles. I used some mine shakers. I worked with a percussionist who had like, some giant drums that we'd try to like rub a Super Bowl mount across and do weird stuff with, process it. But the idea basically was like, let's take tangible kind of hand instruments, and like hand carved or handmade instruments that would ordinarily feel very ancient, and then juxtaposition this against some process stuff that would make it feel like, what is that? It feels like nothing. The idea at least is like, I want it to feel like nothing we've ever heard,
Mm.
and then therefore kind of fulfilling that idea of like this place is out of time and space itself. So that Mayan death whistle was one of the ways of kind of achieving that.
It's funny too, because that question actually ties into something I was going to ask, which is,
Oh yeah.
give us kind of some examples of non-traditional instruments that you've
Yeah.
used that and how it kind of transformed the piece. Because I mean, you're a pro at it. You mentioned a couple. Are there any more examples?
Yeah, do you mean for the Hills of Tanchico, or do you mean just in general,
In
or?
general, yeah, in general, just in your
Yeah, so
works.
actually, I could show you this right now.
Oh yeah,
Um,
exclusive.
so this is that can
Whoa.
instrument I told you about, and I
Okay.
ordered it from Thailand. And again, I didn't know how to play any notes. I don't even know if you'll be able to hear this through the thing, but let's just see if you can. Um, it's
Whoa.
got that kind of, you can do weird fluttery things with it. And again, it sounds like, it doesn't really sound like Thailand necessarily.
Right.
Kind of reminded me of the wind in the ocean a little bit. And once you process it further, it starts to become even more kind of out there. So like when it first starts in the more dramatic aspect of the film, it's kind of more exposed. You know, you hear the instrument, but it's with some strings and stuff. Later on in the film, as things start to become more of a fever dream, you're not really sure what's real anymore. I kind of did some stuff where I take an echo and then I pitch the tail of the echo, so it starts to feel almost like the instrument is going in and out of tune, kind of just washing out, and just trying to create sonic soundscapes that, again, that were different because the source is different. You know, so yeah, that's the fun of these like
That's-
traditional instruments.
I was like, are you pulling out a Bowflex? That thing looks like a Blowflex, but
Oh yeah, see
but it's funny. I don't know. It's and it just goes to show you about how music triggers certain thoughts or feelings. Like you
yeah,
just played that, and I don't know why, but I instantly thought back to like Final Fantasy like but the old like 7, like in 8
yeah,
bit,
yeah.
like it gave me a little that feeling. I don't know. It's such a weird thing. I don't know why that popped into my head, but when you played that, that triggered a thought.
And it's interesting you mentioned that because especially games like that, they're the sound system, like what they had to use, how many bits they had, and like how much memory they had and stuff. They weren't necessarily using like, live orchestral instruments. They were using stuff that probably sound almost like, not synthy per se, but like
Mhm.
something like that. And this doesn't quite sound like a wind instrument or anything. It feels like it's a little off the map there. So
Absolutely.
possible, it's
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Um, what's the way? Because we're running again. We're running out of time. I have so many more questions,
Oh yeah.
and we're running out of time. But what's like the wildest instrument or kind of soundscape that you've ever created, and what story did it serve?
Yeah, so I guess, the Dead Whisperer was probably the craziest, and it was not just because of the Mayan Death Whistle or this can. It was really the culmination of all that stuff. So, for example, it was an indie film that was done on a kind of a modest budget. And so we still wanted to figure out ways of getting live instruments. And there was this amazing grant by New Music USA called the Real Change Grant, which offered, composers and promising films some funds to be able to record live stuff. And I was thankful enough to get the grant, which allowed for all this experimentation. So I even did a string session in Macedonia. I hired a woodwind player who played both on the Wheel of Time, and she's played on like The Witcher and a bunch of other stuff. And she's the kind of person where if you ask like for a woodwind from a particular part of the world, she'll go, "Oh, like which pitch? I have like 5 of them." It's like that kind of person. And so she had some death whistles, she had conch shells. And there's a particular sequence in that Dead Whisper film where I wanted the sound of this melody to just be both beautiful and just like brutal. And so hard line to kind of cross. So I recorded it with a 30-piece string section. I'm like, that's not enough. It needs to be more. So then I recorded the vocalist, actually, the featured vocalist on the Wheel of Time. Her and I became friends. She recorded a bunch of vocal stuff on this film. She recorded on top of those strings. And then I layered it a bunch and distorted it and stuff. Then I was like, let's bring in the conch shells. So we had like 3 different conch shells going, and all of that playing the melody and then like distorting it, echoing it slightly. It just sounds like this massive, massive thing. So that was probably the craziest, you know, craziest score where it was just like a musical playground. It's like, oh, what does that thing do? Let's find out. So that was probably the most out there, and I feel very grateful. The director and writer and producer Connor Susi, who's a good friend of mine, he just let me run with these ideas. So it's only as good as like it takes two to tango. So very
Yeah,
grateful to him for giving
you
me the
gotta
opportunity.
execute the vision of the project. But man, that sounds like it sounds incredibly difficult, but at the same time very like fulfilling. If you're in that kind of a world where you're like, let's play with instruments, let's play with sounds like that. It sounds like a playground. Like you're out
It
there having fun.
Totally. And when you're not constrained, you're constrained by time and budget and all that stuff, but you're not constrained like creatively. You can take more risks and you can establish that trust like, hey, we know that some of this is not going to work out and that's okay. And then maybe let's use that as a springboard to get to the good ideas. How can we do that unless we try a bunch of crazy ones, right? And sometimes the crazy ones work. So, yeah, it's a great experience.
Right on. So as we wind down, This is always the tap dance part, because it's like, I know, especially in the entertainment industry, there's like a lot of NDAs, and we can't talk about this. That
Mm.
is there anything coming up we should be looking out for? Is there, where might we see your work? Where how can we support? What's the next thing? Can
Oh
you
yeah,
talk about the next thing?
thanks for asking. So I am working on a couple game things that are IP related. So I'm unfortunately not really able to talk about that at the moment. But hopefully we'll be able to share something in the not too distant future. I'm actually starting work on a nature docu-series as well, which will be really
Nice.
fun because that's something I'm always passionate about. And they always allow for, music to have a real voice in, which is really wonderful. And actually, I'm working right now with my wife on a game that she's producing. So her and a couple of friends from Riot Games, who are now formed their own studio, are working on like a Sailor Moon inspired game. And they actually got the two lead actresses from Sailor Moon to do voice acting on it too.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah,
Oh,
so that's been really fun. We're like, sometimes she'll be working in her room, I'll be working in mine. We're still Slack messaging each other, so
we're gonna have to talk offline about your wife, and we'll circle
yeah,
back to
yeah,
that. We're gonna put a pin in that one. All right. So to wrap it up, since we can't talk about what you might be working on right now, looking ahead, what's
Mm.
what's a dream project? What's a world you'd love to dive into and score? I mean, sky's the limit. Where's the top of the mountain for you? Where you want to get?
That's a really good question. I think if there were ever any other Wheel of Time related things that come out, I would absolutely love to be involved in those. I think there's a lot of stories to tell in that world. 15 books and all, and I think there's a lot of different prequel related things that could be explored. All these things, so I would love to be involved in that. As I mentioned earlier, The Dark Tower. I think like that was one of those series that when I read it, it was during a formative period in my life, and I feel like it had profound influence on me. And I think again, that's one of those genre mashups where sky's the limit musically, creatively as well. So if there was any capacity I could be involved in that,
And there
that
you
would
go.
be top of the pops.
This
Yeah.
is us doing the love letter. This is us. We're
Yep.
putting it out
Exactly.
into the universe. It's
Exactly.
out there. Somebody, you never know who's watching. Our guy Nikhil, he's ready. He's ready for the opportunity. Awesome, man. I want to thank you so much for being here, for doing this. I mean, your energy and passion for this is it oozes through the screen, man. I feel like we're old friends just hamming it up about the stuff, and this has been an absolute pleasure, man. I thank you. I want to give you the last few seconds. Say your piece to the audience. They're having a great time. Everyone's saying this is a great interview. They love you. They
Oh,
love your
awesome.
work. So I'll give you the last few seconds here to say goodbye to everybody, and then we'll toss it to a break.
Absolutely. Yeah. I just want to say to everyone, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this and hang with us for the hour. It's like, I feel like it's always a dialogue, I mean, whether it be somebody writing something for a show and then fans, being excited about it, whether it be an interview, it takes a community, right? So I appreciate you all being here, and it's looking forward to getting to know you better. So please feel free to add me on socials and stuff, and DM me if you'd like, if you have any other questions or whatever I can help answer.
Awesome, man. You heard it here first, folks. This is going to be one of the biggest names in the industry. You'll mark my words. He's got a big, bright future ahead of him. And we're going to be like, I knew him when. I knew him back when. He's too big for us now. But thank
Never.
you so much. Let's toss to a short break. Guys, we'll be back with more show right after this. Say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, you there? Yeah, it is right, you. Let me ask you something, right? Where the hell do you think that you're going? Oh, would you think because the show's going to commercial that means you get to just walk away? Well, CQ asked me to pass on the little message, alright? And it says, I'll be back.
right, where heroes rise and take the fight. There's a voice that breaks the night. It's CQ with the insight. From the comics to the silver screens, talking legends and those crazy scenes, pop culture trends and hidden themes. CQ reveals what it all means. From the comics to the silver screens, talking legends and those crazy scenes, pop culture trends and hidden themes. CQ reveals what it all means. Pop culture warrior here to ignite, guiding through the tales of light. With CQ leading the charge so bright, we're ready for another flight. Pop culture warrior here to ignite, guiding through the tales of light. With CQ leading the charge so bright, we're ready for another flight. Marvel at the twists and turns, villains play and heroes learn. Every episode we'll discern lessons from the past to learn. Games we play and books we read, CQ's wisdom's what we need. Memories that make us bleed, together we will take the lead. Pop culture warrior here to ignite, guiding through the tales of light. With CQ leading the charge so bright, we're ready for another fight. Pop culture warrior here to ignite, guiding through the tales of light. With CQ leading the charge so bright, we're ready for another flight. Pop culture warrior here to ignite, guiding through the tales of light. With CQ leading the charge so bright, we're ready for another flight. Pop culture warrior here to ignite, guiding through the tales of light. With CQ leading the charge so bright, we're ready for another flight.
Hi there. You're watching Pop Culture Warrior. This is the way.
Hey everybody, we are back. That was such a great interview. That was so much fun. Nikhil Koparkar, everyone. Man, just I love this part of the job when I get to talk with people that so clearly have a passion for what they do. Because it's to the everyday person, hey, everyone's a star, right? Like the idea, oh, you worked on a TV show, you worked on a movie thing, and oh, you must love it and everything. And for a lot of people, it's a job, right? You clock in, you clock out, you do your thing. Even some actors, right? Like there are actors that are like, hey man, I got this gig and I got that gig and I, cash the check, whatever. So when you get to sit down and have a conversation, and just get to, I always look at it like I get to dip a toe in their passions, and it is beyond anything, to just for a second, live in their world. And so I want to thank Nikhil Koparkar. I've worked really hard to make sure I say his name correctly. He deserves it. And just thank him for sharing his passion with us, letting us have a moment to play in his world, to dip our toesies in his world. And it's been a real treat. So, with that said, don't have much more show for you. We have so many things happening behind the scenes here at WTF Nation Radio and Pop Culture Warrior. And I'm not frozen. I'm just thinking of what I can say and what I can't say. There are new shows coming. We have new shows coming to WTF Nation Radio starting next Monday. For those that don't know, our good friend King, who hosts the Sports Bar, which is now on Wednesday nights, he's had another show with him and his wonderful significant other, Michelle. The two of them have hosted a show called The King and Me, which is kind of a relationship talk show where they talk about relationships and marriage, divorce, kids, all the kind of stuff that wraps up a relationship, that entails a relationship. So The King and Me will be coming to WTF Nation Radio. It will now be a WTF Nation Radio show. It will be Monday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern, which will lead straight in. It's only 1 hour, and it'll lead straight into the Monday edition at 8 p.m. with Ice and Massey or Spanky or whoever's with him. But so that's the first of many new shows that will be rolling on to WTF Nation Radio. The next one most likely will be, I guess I could announce it. I mean, it's kind of is it official? I feel like it's official. You know what? Fuck it. So the next show that'll be coming on after that will be The Reset, which is going to be Saturdays at noon. It's going to be about a 30-minute, 45-minute program. It is with a, I don't know the acronyms that go with the name, but I know it's Dr. J, and she is a clinically licensed, I don't know, with the letters. She has all the letters in the names. She's a doctor, and it's going to be a mental health show where we talk about kind of the reset, right? It's the reset of your mind, the reset of how you're feeling and what you're dealing with. And it's something that I think will evolve over time. It's going to start out as a very, frank dialogue on just mental health and programs and tools to put in the toolkit, so to speak. But I think over time it will develop into something that like people can write in and talk about what they're going through and maybe get some advice, or maybe it'll be a call-in show where people can call in and talk to Dr. J. Obviously, there are certain legal issues. We have to be very careful because when you are a licensed therapist, you're licensed in certain states. And so doing something that's broadcast nationally or globally can get a bit tricky. So we're going to be very, very careful with it's not therapy. It is advice and ways to process things. I don't know. I don't get it. We'll figure it out. We're gonna have to get that legal blurb. The views and opinions expressed by Dr. J or no way to be used as therapeutic advice or for entertainment purposes only, and yada yada yada. So there's that. And then finally, the third show, which will be launching this year, later this year, we have, which I'm very excited to talk about, is Trailhead Ops. And Trailhead Ops is going to be kind of our outdoorsy show. So it's going to be content of and around outdoors and camping and trailheading and what they call it, overlanding, just a bunch of stuff. And so, maybe we do gear reviews, maybe we do tips and tricks and how-tos and all these different things, but it'll be all things related to the outdoors and that kind of thing. So very, very cool for that. And there's more shows, and there's at least 3 other shows that are in the pipeline as well. But those are the 3 shows that are going to be ready the soonest and will be joining WTF Nation Radio within the next, well, one starts next week, and then the other 2 start like next month, and then the next month after that. So stay tuned because we have a lot more shows and programs coming to WTF Nation Radio. So much stuff is happening in the background. I'm so happy. We've got a ton of guests scheduled for the next many weeks. many weeks. We have guests coming on this show, actors, composers, creators, just a ton. Next week we have, oh Christ, I should have this ready to go and I don't. Next week he is if you tuned into Weekend Co-ops, I think Weekend Co-ops did an interview with him too, because he also does this gaming stuff. But I will be speaking with, where is it? There it is. Dustin, and oh God, is it Adair? Adire? Dustin Adire. I'm gonna say that, and I'm gonna apologize because I got it wrong probably. But Dustin Adire, he's worked on a bunch of different video games, but also has an extensive career in I think it's like special effects in TV and movies and things like that. So we're gonna talk about his incredible career and all the really cool projects he's worked on. And yeah, it's gonna be awesome. So that's September 9th. September 16th is probably gonna be an off day because I will not be available. But then we have guests coming on the 23rd and the 30th. Oh my goodness. It's going to be a busy few weeks. Let's just say that. It's going to be a few busy weeks. Very lot of cool things coming up. I'm so excited. Not to mention we've got New York Comic Con's coming up. Jesus Christ, so much shit. So much stuff. And I promise you, we're going to do a giveaway. It's been very busy. CQ is tired. CQ is so tired. He's traveled so much. He's done so much. But I promise you, it is coming. It is coming. And I'm literally surrounded by stuff. I can literally touch with my feet just all the amounts of crap that I've accumulated over the last couple weeks that needs to be organized and given away because we've got way too much shit. That all being said, I want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. I got to talk to the incredible Nikhil Koparkar and Mad Mike, wherever he is. He's probably asleep by now, but wherever he is, thanks for joining and being my phenomenal co-host. Thank you all for tuning in and watching every single week. Obviously, follow us on all the pages, like us, subscribe, click the bell. Do all the, if there are buttons on your screen, hit all of them. Just hit all the buttons. And like I said, we got a lot more coming up very soon. So stay tuned. We'll see you guys next week. Shots. Oh, wait, next week? Yeah, next week, because we got to guess. Shots. Bye.